I'd like to welcome y'all to Secrets from the South. I'm your friend Scotty Ray along with my co-host Terry. Now you'll quickly catch on that we don't sound like the man on the 6 o'clock news. We talk a little slower and we've got a southern drawl. But nonetheless, we've got a great podcast lined up just for you. We'll bring you some interesting stories. They're sometimes crazy and a little unbelievable, but it would be just plain impolite not to share them. So get yourself comfortable. Find some southern charm in a glass of iced tea and enjoy. Whether you will admit it or not, each person really wants some companionship, someone to share their life with. But where do you find this? Oh, you've bumped into people at the grocery store. You've had your best friends introduce you to their friends. And dim lights, thick smoke, and loud music just isn't for you. Well, sit back and enjoy this week's episode titled, Looking for Love.
So, Scotty, why you got that smirk on your face?
Because Scotty Ray has struck again.
Doing what?
I hooked somebody else up.
You did?
Yeah, I've done this several times, you know.
Yeah, I know. Your mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law was all hooked. That was 30 years ago I introduced her to him. And so I got a good track record of this.
But why? Why are you hooking people up?
Because if you looked online as to see what people make off of this, and all I'm getting right now is favors. I figure if I keep going, I'll hook somebody up that's in a big position. I'll get a favor out of later.
Like a job?
Well, I wouldn't say a job, but a favor. You know, sometimes you just need a little favor from somebody.
Just like a big fat check?
Yeah, something like that'll happen.
I hear you.
That industry is huge, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm asking is, why are you fixing people up when there's tons of online dating?
Because I know the people. They can't say that they know those people. They just filled out an application.
Yeah, but
all my folks come through me.
Oh, I get that. And I know that you think that you're awesome at it, and that you have such a impeccable track record.
So all you got to do is tell me what you're looking for. Like, most women, the main thing that they want is J-O-B, is the main thing that they ask for in a man.
You don't think that they want companionship and somebody that they enjoy being with and somebody that's good to their kids and loves spending time with them, treats them well. There's the whole package.
Way overrated. All that. Way overrated.
You think all they want is somebody with a job.
Yeah, because they go on these dating sites and they think, ooh, they're hot. And then come to find out, and you should know this from Facebook, those pictures have been doctored till they ain't no tomorrow with filters and stuff. And when you bump into them in Walmart, you're like, who are you? Did you know that best friend that you hadn't seen in 30 years? You go online, you think, oh my gosh, she looks great. And then you really see her. She don't look nothing like that.
They got a glamour shot out there or something?
Yeah, because they got all these different filters that you can use now to make yourself look a lot better.
Well, let's get back to what you said earlier.
Okay.
You said that all they're looking for is somebody with a job. That doesn't say a whole lot about your expertise.
Well,
anybody, Scotty, could fix somebody up with who has a job.
Oh, no, see,
You're not taking all those other factors that a woman, and I would think to some degree a man, would want in a companion.
They just think they want those things. Because a lot of times they'll get all that and then that person won't work. Or they won't go do anything for their family members. They're just lazy. They may have them good qualities of fixing pancakes for them, but they don't do nothing else.
I think you better stick to what you do. And I think the matchmaking needs to come to an end. Because, when you're talking about matchmaking, did you know that online dating is a $3 billion business?
See, I'm off to a great start here, Terry.
I tell you what, Scotty, you go ahead and package that up and put it online, and let's see how you do. There
was I've even hooked a couple teachers up.
I mean, do you have other things that you need to be doing?
No, you know how you'll be at like Walmart looking for a car battery, and you'll bump into somebody you hadn't seen in 10 years, and they go, I ain't dated nobody in 5 years. I sure wish I could find somebody.
And there you come to the rescue.
And I just talked to Earl last week who said the same thing. Let me give you his number. And, so I can put them together like that.
But what if Earl can barely get around? He doesn't have anything in common with the female.
Well, so they got to work that out themselves. I give no guarantees.
I think you better go into something else.
But it is fun. Now, the online dating service, no kidding, that is huge. How many millions?
A $3 billion business.
Okay,
and they're saying that 50 million Americans use it.
Okay, now I know that you've been married since time. And
well, not as long as you.
Well,
but I have been married for a long time. You're right.
I forgot about that. I've been married longer than you had.
Yeah,
but
you stepped off in that one.
I don't know that I could actually do the online dating service because of all the red flags that I just brought up.
Well, you'd have to learn how to use a computer first.
That's true. And people will, like, do you remember the Brad Paisley song online years ago?
Yeah.
People make themselves out to be something that they're really not online. Well, maybe not everybody, but,
Well, and I mean, can you trust it?
I don't think so.
I think there's so many deceitful people out there, but apparently, and that's we need to talk about that. But there's 1,000. That's an exaggeration. There are a lot of companies out there, and they're just continuing this because it's such a big business. You keep hearing of another one. Like one that comes to mind to me that has been around for a long time is eHarmony.
Yeah, that has been.
I don't know how long that's been in business.
Has the commercials where it has the grandpa and he has his grandkids there.
Yeah,
and
I guess it's been in business about as long as Scotty Ray's matchmaking has. But you know you got silver singles. You got that one that's after 50. I don't know if silver singles is 50 and up or what. You got Match. You got Christians Only. You've got Farmers. Farmersonly.com.
See, that would just really and truly
blows my mind. But it's so specific. Right. I mean, that you can find. There's so many dating sites out there that you can narrow down. Like if you only want to date somebody that's in your age range.
I guess that's how that little Farmers Only thing came about.
You only want somebody who's a farmer.
Because it kind of makes sense. They're lonely. I mean, you think of the guy that's in South Dakota there working on his farm, and town is 200 miles away. He ain't got no choice because ain't nobody living next door to you.
But do you think about how it's evolved in that you've got, and this doesn't even, we're not even scratching the surface.
Oh, no.
On all of the online dating that are really probably big business and probably a lot bigger than the ones we just listed.
Now, I worked with a lady a few years ago that had been single. I guess she'd been single 15 plus years or so, and she was probably in her 50s.
Please don't tell me you tried to match her up.
Oh, no, she wouldn't let me. I don't know why, though. I never figured that out.
I have a lot of respect for her.
People would do, because she let me look over her shoulder of the people that were, and I'm going to call it this, it's not the real thing, applying to date with her.
Okay.
And she'd go, oh, no. They'd send, little winks and stuff like that to make you look at their profile.
Uh-huh.
They sent a wink or something like that. I don't know much about this. Now, that was my one time to stand over her shoulder and look, but you would go look at their profile then to see if you liked them.
Yeah, I think I would be scared that the photo that I'm seeing does not represent the real person.
Now, and then there's those that are so trusting that they'll get a wink or whatever they do on these things and fly 3,000 miles to go meet them.
Are these people that will say they're doing these online dating services strictly as a scam?
Oh, yeah.
That they want to come see them. But they've had this hardship, and they need $500, but they love them. They're already talking about marrying them, and they barely know them. And they're just preying on the loneliness of this person. That's what's so sad about it.
Now, I never had a Instagram account until we started Secrets from the South.
Right.
And I have one now. And, Terry, you would not believe the stuff that I get sent to me. I don't guess it's a wink, but it's hey, what are you doing? I don't know you. I don't know where you come from. And their picture is always very, let me politically put this right, revealing. That's the way to word it.
That's coming through Instagram?
Yes, their chest area is enhanced in every picture I get from them, and it's, hey, what are you doing? How are you?
Goodness.
And I know they don't really want to talk to me.
I've been on Instagram a lot, and I haven't had.
None of those girls sent you anything?
Well, I don't want one, but I'm just saying that I haven't had any what I would call suspicious, I guess, because that's not really how Instagram works.
Right, but what they do is they tie into that private message and send them to you. I'm probably getting 5, 6, 7 different people a week that send that. And
do you think they found out that you're doing all this matchmaking? They don't realize that you are not one of the ones that's trying to be matched. You're off the market, Scotty.
I know, but I'm the king of helping people, though. I can't stand by and let somebody be lonely.
So do you want to be part of this $3 billion business?
That right there is an inspiration to get up in the morning.
And start something like eHarmony or Farmers Only or Scotty's. I don't know what we'd have to call it, but I think
I have to think on that a little while.
It'd be dangerous. But when you think about how dating has evolved, think about when you and I were dating, and that was, just right around the corner. But
yeah, payphones.
You just
if you're away from home.
Well, first of all, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, it was. You had to see them.
You had a landline, and you tried to drag that landline phone all the way, because you didn't have them in every room.
That's right.
And you tried to drag it off somewhere where you could get some sense of privacy, so that you could call Angie and make arrangements for a date.
Correct.
And this was, or anybody else that we were dating before we actually got married. And now, and you'd say, well, how are you dating? Well, you just started dating. It was just, at some point, you and the person that you were going out with just became exclusive.
Yeah.
And if somebody else were to walk up, they would say, well, they're dating. And that was just assumed. Now it has evolved, and I can't even keep up with it, that you're talking first.
I don't know what talking really means.
And that means that you still could be kind of playing the field, so to speak, or you're not exclusive. You may be checking out other options. And so then if you're talking and you want to take it to the next level, I guess it's tradition, if it's a girl and a boy, that he would ask you to start dating, and that means that you're dating each other exclusively. It's just a foreign language to me.
And men, I still believe in the old-fashioned way of a man's supposed to make that first step, in my opinion. Right. I guess it doesn't always work that way nowadays.
I guess a woman can do that as well, but it's more in a stepped process.
Oh, yeah.
Now than it was in the days that you and I were dating.
Things have way changed from back then than the way it is now. Now you can see each other on the phone, on your FaceTime each other, and look at one another, or snap. I don't have a Snapchat.
Yeah, but I mean, all of that is taking advantage of technology through the dating world, and this gets back to this online dating, that you have so many people that, and especially, I don't know how that impacts where we're kind of confined to our house, that they're doing like Zoom dating.
That's weird, isn't it?
Or or whatever. That it's just different. It's a different environment in how you are meeting for the first time. And then I think I'm like you. I would be skeptical unless I was in a small town and I was taking advantage of doing online dating, but they also resided in a small town, and you could do some checking to find out, to make sure that this person was on the up and up, and that this person was a good person, and that there wasn't any warning signs for you not to perhaps meet them for a drink, meet them for dinner or something like that.
Now, if you're listening to us, because I don't know much about this, and if you've ever tried this, send me a message. I want to know, was it a good experience online of trying these dating sites? And if you met somebody,
I would love to find out some of those experiences. Because I think our younger generation, and again, I was just getting ready to say that I think it's our younger generation that are taking advantage of this online dating, but that's not the case anymore, because now you've got, like I said, silver singles, and there's 50 and something, that we've got older people that find themselves where they've gone through a divorce, they've lost a spouse, they've never been married, whatever else, and they're looking for companionship, as a lot of people are, and so they're relying on this online dating as an avenue for meeting somebody.
Now, do you agree with the statement I heard down at the back before the COVID hit? But you know how guys always hang out at the little convenience store there, and they always have their little booth with the whole court every morning.
Yeah.
Do you agree with it's just somebody else's problem that you're taking on dating somebody in their 50s, 40s, 50s, like the silver single thing?
What do you mean by taking on somebody else's problem?
Well, they didn't want them because they were a headache to somebody, and they had to get rid of them. Man or woman. Are they just issues, or?
Well, I think that the older you are when you get into a relationship, chances are that person that you're getting into a relationship with has been married before. I'm just saying probably a high percentage that they've been married before.
Yeah.
And that probably comes with kids.
Oh, yeah. You're taking on somebody else's.
Yeah, and so you do kind of inherit their problems, and they inherit your problems.
Have you ever heard the term snakes in the head?
Oh, yeah.
And I have met some people that, on the surface you think, hey, they're all right.
So you wouldn't match somebody up that had snakes in their head?
No, I couldn't do that.
So you have you have
a moral obligation.
Okay, I got you. And you have criteria.
Absolutely. And I could make a mistake. I could be fooled by some of my clients so far.
Have you ever been fooled?
Once. Yeah, I have been fooled once.
Okay. And that didn't, I guess.
That was that redhead that I was going to hook up with a buddy of mine. He said she was nuts. And he told me don't ever give him her number again.
Now, was that just because she was a redhead or just because she had snakes in her head?
I think she had a bunch of fire in her. There's something about a redhead that's got a bunch of fire.
Okay, well, I have a daughter who has copper hair, so I'm just trying to clarify that. So I don't think she has snakes in her head.
But let me bring this out, Terry, because this industry here, because you really don't know someone. You meet them online, you talk to them. I don't know how long this would go on, if it's a month or 2 months, and then one of you either got to drive or fly somewhere to hook up with each other. Now, I'm sure you've seen the TV show, and they're like, in my opinion, nuts for doing it, the 90-Day Fiancé.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Those people are just after green cards.
Well, what makes somebody
you could get killed
that trustworthy that they're going to get into, and that speaks to itself right there. The whole commitment behind saying I do.
Right. I
mean, what was the percentage that we just did a podcast a couple of episodes back that 49% of marriages end in, it's either 47 or 49% of marriages today end in divorce. That's a couple of percentages less than it was a couple of years ago, but still, that's not real good odds.
No, and people nowadays go into a marriage thinking, I can divorce you if I don't like you.
That's what I'm saying is, so now they're going to do this 90-day fiancé or 90-day marriage, whatever it's called.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, it's just kind of this cavalier attitude of, we'll just get it annulled or get divorced or whatever else. Whereas I think when you and I got, when you got married and I got married years ago, and I'm not saying that we don't have that same constitution about us today, but it does seem to be that, and again, like I said, the odds are not in our favor, but it just seems to be that we're a little more cavalier with, if it doesn't work, there's a back door.
Right. But have we lost that sense? Because, even in business, that what we talked about of when you go in front of somebody, that feeling you get, can you still connect online as you can in person and pick up on that vibe? And if you know what I mean by that vibe.
The chemistry.
Yeah.
There's definite chemistry when you're meeting somebody in person.
Right.
As opposed to how do you understand if you got chemistry if you're doing it online? That's a really good question.
That is. And again, going back to, you can really get hurt here. There's some monsters in this world, and you really need to know that chemistry thing here to guide you to know whether that person's good or bad. Some people just don't have that, but
and you talk about from a safety perspective. I think about a female who is doing online dating. She goes out with someone. I mean, safety has to be number one.
Yeah, you better have somebody you can call.
There needs to be an escalation point. So it needs to be the first time that you meet, you're in a public area, you're going out with another girlfriend. It's got to be something where there's a level of trust that builds between the two of you so that when you do go on that date and it's just you and that person, you've gotten to know them very well. You just don't go off in today's world where you would agree to meet somebody on the first date and you don't really know that person.
I know people that have run off with folks for the weekend that they didn't even know at all.
I just, that's hard for me to fathom. I mean, is it for you?
Yeah, it is for me. There's no way I would do that. As you well know, there are certain people that can get under your last nerve. And can you imagine being stuck with them all weekend?
Well, it takes a while to really get to know somebody.
It does.
You're not going to get to, I guess that forces you to get to know them if you go off with a total stranger for a weekend. That would be so awkward. And I know that we have evolved in how we are dating and how we are doing things. We're relying on technology. But technology in all of its advances in terms of dating and seeing photos and getting background information and doing Zoom comes with it a lot of baggage too. Here's a prime example.
Okay.
Just the other day, and this isn't a dating thing, but this is through Facebook. You know how it has the messenger thing?
Right.
Okay, so the lady that I used to work with years ago, and she retired shortly after I had left the company. And if I run into her, I'm glad to see her, and we catch up, but it's not somebody that I ever purposely Instagram or text or, reach out through Facebook.
Right.
And I think the world of them. I'm just saying that that's just not something I've been doing. Out of the blue, I get a message from her, and it says, "Hey, how are you doing?" So I respond back, "I'm good. How are you?" I thought that I would say something to you since I saw your name on the PCH list. What is PCH? Publishers Clearinghouse. And I knew right then something didn't smell right. But now keep in mind, on that messenger, it has her photo.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, what list? And she said, hey, and she shows me, and they send a picture who's not of this lady holding one of those fake checks. So I said, what was my maiden name when I worked at where we worked together? Because I knew she'd know. And I said, don't say the whole name. What was the first letter of the name? And instantly, they keep going on about, hey, call this number. And it's a scam.
Yeah.
And I say that to say that if they can do that in Facebook, they can do that in any online dating service.
They're stealing pictures and it's Bertha over in another country really talking to you. In a lot of cases, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, we've had those phishing things where they play on people's emotions. They start this relationship through online dating, and they are not who they say they are.
That's correct. They're not anything.
And then a lot of them, are good. I mean, they wouldn't be in business if they're not. And probably some... Really
and they try to screen them. I'm sure.
Screen them, and they really scrutinize and put people together. You've got eHarmony, who has shown couples that have been married that are back, promoting the product. But, I don't know. I guess they would not be a $3 billion business if they were not successful.
Well, country music wouldn't exist if there wasn't a such thing as a broken heart and somebody drinking somewhere and their loneliness. And that's where this all comes from. The worst thing that can be and the horrible thing is to be lonely and alone. And people don't want that. They don't want to die alone. They want somebody to share their life with.
But at the same time, they're the same ones that are the victims.
Correct.
I mean, they want companionship. According to you, they just want somebody with a job. But then they are the same ones that can fall victim to somebody who's out there to do them harm.
That's true.
And take every last nickel that they have.
And I see on Facebook a lot of people that post, and you can just tell they're throwing little fishing lines out there for somebody to write back of, hey, I'm watching a movie, and they want somebody to answer with, well, tell me about the movie, to try to connect. And
yeah.
It's they want that human touch. They do.
Exactly. And I'm sure there are a lot of lonely people out there. That's something that you and I can't relate to.
No.
We've been very successful, had very successful, great marriages, but it's a booming business for a reason. And so knowing that, I guess that's why Scotty Ray has his own dating service, but yours is not online yet, is it?
Oh, no, I hadn't made it that big yet. I'm like in person, call me.
And is that kind of your forte, is you provide that personal connection?
Absolutely. I'm worth every dollar.
And you don't think you will ever be promoting your product online?
No, I don't think so. So far, all I've gotten is somebody help me rotate some tires after hooking them up.
I think you're going to have to come a long way before you start seeing some real cash.
Now, let me ask this, because of technology and the way things are going. Because, you're always, when you bump into somebody, you want to know something about them. Do you think there will ever be such a website that you can pay to where it gives the the rundown, the skinny on somebody to where, hey, they've dated Joe, John, Jill, whatever.
Oh, it's almost like a private investigator who
Correct.
goes and does some research on them that comes back and says, you need to stay away from them.
Correct.
First of all, they're not 175 pounds. They have no job.
Correct.
They're 38 years old
Living
and they're
with
still
mama.
living with mama. Yeah, that would be,
Now, I don't
that
know.
would be great.
I really think there's a need for it, but I'm sure that there'd be a lawsuit there somewhere running somebody down, but it's probably the truth.
But what if it's public information that they find on the internet? They're just sharp at extracting that information out.
That's true. But wouldn't it be cool, though? You just type in a name?
That it was public record and it just takes somebody who's creative to kind of compile it all in this one format where somebody can look at it and go, I think I'll pass on this person.
We could call it Secrets from Scotty Ray and Terry.
We could.
Keep in mind, when you're looking for that special person, you can't force love. You can't make it happen if it isn't meant to be. And we're only human, and sometimes we overlook things that are right in front of us. What I'm trying to say is, don't be distracted by a Ferrari sitting over there, when right in front of you, you have a 68 fastback that just needs a little polishing. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and will continue to listen more. We promise to provide stories that intrigue you, provide a little humor, reflect our heritage and culture, whether it's strange and alarming. Please leave us a review and let us know how we're doing. Let us know whether you liked or disliked. Do you have a story to share? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please email us at comments@secretsfromthesouth.com and provide a brief description of your story along with contact information, and we'll be in touch. Until next time, a secret, maybe you found some courage, because there's a life for you. You've just got to open the door.